I'm Nori.
I'm Bree.
And welcome to Late Night Chats with Queen Insomniacs. Episode 4? Episode 4.
Wow.
Featuring our friend DJ.
You guys have heard of her by now.
Yes. We've mentioned you several times at this point.
I'm already famous.
She's famous. She's here. Before we get started, remember everybody, please like, share, subscribe, check out our socials. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit. Probably some more places coming soon, but check us out.
We can't escape.
No. We're everywhere. We're finding you. But getting into tonight's topic, we are talking about some video games, specifically horror video games.
Yes.
So as we mentioned before with our sneak peek, we are talking about some rather recent, pretty new, pretty fresh video games in the horror genre that have come out. So I guess I'll introduce them. The first one we'll talk about is from Dark Pictures Anthology, which is kind of connected to Until Dawn if you're familiar with them. But their most recent game, The Devil in Me, which follows a serial killer from, oh God, I'm not even gonna
I can't even
remember the original
1800s?
date, probably. But H.H. Holmes, who is I think an American serial killer, I think he's noted as like the first.
Yeah.
He's had the most kills or something like that.
Yeah, and he had I guess if you think of like early Saw, like that was this guy, or at least according to, I'm not gonna say that's for sure. According to the game, that's who this guy was. And what happens in that is like it starts off with like the actual time period of the guy, and then kind of like a copycat that happens in the modern day. So that's the first game that we're going to talk about. And then we're going to talk about Poppy Playtime. Now I will preface this by saying I don't know if they know, there's been some drama with the team behind Poppy Playtime. We are not discussing that today. Maybe in the future. We're just giving, I guess, theories, overall reviews of these games. So in terms of Poppy Playtime and some of the less fun stuff going on with that, we're not covering that in this episode. But we are talking about the game and what we think will be happening in Chapter 3, which will be coming out, I think, this fall? I think it said this year.
Yeah, I believe so.
Which we're really excited. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. We're really excited for that. And then the final game we'll talk about is Choo Choo Charles, which is hilariously horrifying. It is literally about a demon train.
Spider train.
A demon spider train.
Let that sink
Just imagine it.
Yeah, and
if you don't know what he looks like, just let that sink in.
Yeah,
we'll show you.
Yeah, we'll pop up. We'll show some pictures. I'll be sure to add in some pictures of some of the stuff that happens in these games. Yeah. And I will try and also add like warnings for anybody who's like freaked out easily, because I understand. I am a fellow scaredy cat.
I think it's arachnophobia with spiders.
Arachnophobia. Yeah. So
if
like,
you got that, Choo Choo Charles ain't for you.
Like just like
we'll
probably
tell
the
you
last.
When we're talking about it.
Well,
That'll be the last one.
Just dip. It's fine. But anyway, I think that was a great preface to today's discussion.
Yeah.
So H.H. Holmes and The Devil in Me. This game.
Oh man.
This game is nuts. It's so good. So like we said, Dark Pictures are the people who are behind Until Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Until Dawn is also an amazing game. Came out years ago. And the people behind them have made several other similar like movie style pick
Storytime games
and choose story games where you make decisions that will affect the characters
the game,
and affect the story that happens in the game. So this is, I'm not even going to try and figure out the numbers because there's so many games in between Until Dawn and this one. But I would definitely recommend checking them out. But as for The Devil in Me, like we said, it follows this first American serial killer. It starts out, spoilers. So all the spoilers. I'm gonna put that in there too. All the spoilers are happening.
Come back when you played it.
Yeah.
Or watch whatever you want to do. If you haven't done it yet, check them out if you're interested, because the spoilers are happening. But anyway, definitely should have said that first. H.H. Holmes. We're introduced to him by this newlywed couple. I know. Marie and Jeff. Yes, because I always forget his name. Yeah.
That's how the me.
So his name was Jeff. These two, my name Jeff. So these two were newly engaged, not engaged, newly married. Mm-hmm. And there's like this festival or something going on, and all the hotels in the area are like booked because of course they are. So they see, oh God, it's such a bad review because I can't remember the names of things.
Holmes Hotel.
I guess it was.
It don't even matter.
But they go to this hotel, and they're in there, and they're like, oh, this is nice. Like, it's the only hotel that's, like, empty. Suspiciously empty. Like, no guests, no staff, no nobody. Here comes H.H. Holmes like, oh, hello, lovely couple. Very suspiciously. Like, if there was anything saying, serial killer, bad person, be wary. The way this dude's energy was just not it. And I'm like, Jeff, Marie, y'all need to skedaddle, okay? It is not okay here. So they're there. He checks them in, and they're like checking out the stuff. Like, oh, look, they got some jewelry. Oh, they've got like bath stuff. That's nice. Blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. They're flirting. They're being cute, running around the hotel like teenagers. It's cute until it's not. Jeff is like, oh, I think he had to go grab something or like wanted to ask him about something.
She wanted him to shave, so he went to the gift shop to go get shaving cream
stuff,
and she
went to go take a bath.
Yeah.
So they're like just trying to settle in for the night and the festivities going on with the festival, and then the murder happens. He finds like trap doors and trap floors and stuff. Holmes comes in the playthrough that we watched Jacksepticeye play it first. So in his play, this is also spoilers for their videos, but in his playthrough, Marie is like in the bath, and you see somebody come into the space, and it's silent. So we're already like, okay, this is murder dude. This is Holmes. Holmes comes in, kills Marie. Jeff sees him.
She isn't dead.
Well, she isn't dead yet. Oh my God, it's so graphic. He cuts her throat. Yeah. So sorry. He cuts her throat. Jeff sees this, and Holmes is like ready to approach him now. So he's like, oh my God. And he like runs and tries to get into another room, which ends up being another trap where it's like gas or something that kills him. And there's like this window mirror thing that connects that room and the bathroom. So they end up seeing each other die, and Holmes is like, ha ha ha. And it's so sad. And that's the start of the game. So then we flash forward to like modern day. There's this film crew, Jamie, Aaron,
Kate,
Charlie, Mark and Charlie.
Yeah.
They're a film crew. This is Charlie is like their boss. He's like the owner of this film company. And they do documentaries on like true crime. Mm-hmm. And now you see how everything comes together. So Charlie's like, he gets a call from like this mysterious person, named Mr. Dumet. He's like, I've got a perfect opportunity for you. I know you guys do true crime, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Come to this
hotel.
Mansion hotel type place.
It's an old hotel that it's original H.H. Holmes was the one
they built it. No, I thought they built it as a replica of the hotel.
Okay.
That's what it was. So it's advertised as like an attraction situation, and they're like, oh, it'll be perfect because we've got real artifacts from like Holmes and all this stuff. Come check us out. And Charlie's like, yeah, because there's also things about like company not doing too great, and he's like, this is a great opportunity. So the film crew was kind of like, man, I don't even know about this. This feels weird.
It's kind of more so a thing of the film crew being like, what is Charlie getting us into this time?
Yeah.
What
so they're already suspicious about it, and it gets even worse when the time comes for them to get there, because they're carted off in this like strange limo. The dude's asking for all their phones, all of their ways basically to contact the outside world. He's like, no, I need that stuff. Y'all can't have it with you. And they're like, what? But Charlie's like, NDAs, stuff like that. They probably just, we can't say anything. So they're like, fine, whatever. They get there. They're kind of settling into the place. And Jamie happens to see Dumet and some little girl leaving this. Oh, it's also on like a secluded, like a private island.
Yeah.
He sees them like rushing to catch the ferry and like getting on the ferry to leave.
Yeah.
So Jamie, who we stand Jamie, chef's kiss. Jamie was the best character in this whole game. But Jamie is already like, something is not right. Like, why is dude leaving? So they're all going about their own business. Aaron is helping Charlie with stuff. Jamie is settling in. Mark and Kate are doing their thing. Oh, and I guess we'll also talk about character relationships. So Jamie...
Very briefly.
Yeah, really briefly. It's quick. Jamie and Aaron are interested in each other. Mark and Kate used to date. They have some weird relationship stuff going on throughout the whole game. And then Charlie is just the boss of everybody. But yeah, so you see moments of Kate and Mark hanging out, Aaron and Jamie hanging out, and then Charlie is doing his own thing. And then they have dinner, and stuff starts going downhill from there.
Walls start changing. Everyone's getting separated. They're being set up into different traps. You have to pick or choose who we want to live.
Yeah.
What if we do this? Oh no, she's gonna die. He's gonna die.
Yeah.
Everything goes wrong.
Stuff is wild. So, all of this crazy trap stuff is happening, and it's been interesting for us because we've watched different people play to see the different outcomes. Like we said, we watched Jacksepticeye play it, and we also saw
Gab Smolders play it.
Gab Smolders play it to see, because no offense to Sean,
he killed everybody.
Not everybody, but like you killed so many important people that we missed out a lot of the story. So we were like, we gotta watch Gab because we know she's got it. She's got it.
Sean thought the objective was to get everybody killed,
and it was just like, no. So we get a little bit more story from who you keep alive and how long you keep them alive. So and like,
there's too much to go into detail because there are so many different
outcomes and possibilities.
There's so many situations they're put in.
Yeah.
If you really want to get a good sense
we could do one whole episode just on the devil.
And you can definitely go and watch. They have videos about like the different deaths.
And I'll link them down below so that you can check that out.
Definitely do that.
Yeah. But that was a really, really quick, like, kind of bare bones summary of the game. There is an opportunity for you to save everybody, save nobody. You can save a dog or kill a dog. It's crazy. But
so be careful what you choose to do.
If you play this game, just make sure you save Jamie and Aaron at least. Keep them two alive. Please.
Charlie has redeeming qualities.
Charlie too. I would say Charlie. Charlie gets better.
But Mark and
I'll stand for Mark and Kate. Save everybody.
I'll stand for Mark.
I'll stand for Mark. Kate is very frustrating.
And if you watch, you'll understand.
Yeah. So now that we've given a little bit of, I guess exposition, is that the proper language? I don't know. Summary.
Well,
how do we what?
What I will say is, regardless of how many people make it out, there is an end scene in which...
Yes.
Well, okay, so the playthrough we watched, there was a boat scene when they're trying to escape the island, and they ended up killing whoever this mastery, this replica of
this
H.H. Holmes
copycat,
is.
yeah.
But at the end, once everything settles down and they're giving the police their statements and everything, we have an end scene where
depending
there's
on
a
what
mask
you're
on
saying,
the beach, and you see his hand grab
you
it.
see a hand reach up, pick up the mask, and it fades to black.
Ends.
So,
but no, if that was enough, if you manage to save everyone, you realize that the cycle keeps on going. Because he sends an email and basically lures in
another group of 5 to come and
live
out a nightmare. Live out a literal nightmare.
So we have this theory.
We have so many theories.
That there is not only one person.
Yeah.
Which is confirmed with the ending.
Yeah.
But we feel like there's a team going on, which throughout the game, they show you these construction workers. They show you these mannequins whose bodies are supposed to represent these construction workers.
And just not
and
even just the construction workers, but also, different people who have been in this space and have dealt with Dumet. Or Holmes, Dumet, whomever, because Dumet is just a
he's basically like the caller.
He is the person to lure them in, because in a certain ending, Mark is offered to save himself and Kate by pretending to be Dumet and lure more people in.
Yeah.
Like I said, we could literally have a whole episode on this one game alone, guys. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so we definitely have a theory that there's a team of people. Not to mention, there is one specific room in the game where it's like a couple stories tall. And it's a room that's basically supposed to be like the ultimate control room of the entire place. Yeah. There are so many different wires and different
control panels, screens.
That there's no way there's only one person who is able to manage all of it. Yeah. There's no way. Yeah. Mind you, the whole time, there's at least one person out in the hotel who is constantly chasing after them. Every time
they've directly interacted with this H.H. Holmes copycat, whether he be Dumet or not, it's always one guy. We never see two people in this costume at once. Yeah.
But they do skip back and forth between different people depending on who is separated how, whatever. But some of the timings don't add up because there's supposed to be these events happening simultaneously.
Yeah. Like
and
there's one moment
when they get back together,
I think, where well, depending on the playthrough, but like there's one moment where I think you like hurt Holmes, but then like he's in another spot, like not long, and like it's too fast for him to get where he is.
Towards the middle, depending on your playthrough, Jamie and Aaron are like have escaped the house, like in the woods, but Mike was still like in the basement or something like that. Yeah. And Dumont has chased Aaron and Jamie out into the woods, but also Mark sees him walking around.
Mark is constantly hiding from him for a good while.
So like this dude didn't like run from all the way in the woods to then just casually start working on the mannequins in the basement.
Not to mention even the moments where people are hiding. Like there's a scene where Jamie is kind of getting like this information from the guy who we think Monday? Yeah. Agent Monday.
That's a whole other thing in itself.
Oh my god, we gotta do just an episode on this game alone. So this guy, Agent Monday, who we think is the H.H. Holmes copycat, he used to be a cop. He went crazy.
There's some kind of like
he had to take down a serial killer, and the serial killer basically got in his head.
Yeah,
and was like, "You're going to enjoy killing."
And in the interrogation room, he basically like kills the guy.
But the way he operates, it definitely seems as if there's like multiple personalities going on. Because my theory specifically is that maybe he doesn't realize when he is specifically Monday, he doesn't realize that he's the person doing these killings. But when he's this replica of H.H. Holmes, that's when he goes crazy.
All the stuff is going
and
on.
The anger comes out, and it doesn't matter what you do, what you say, you're dead.
And I think, I don't know if this was like my own or if we were chatting about it and kind of developing it, kind of building on that. Oh my God, don't lose the thought. We were saying like, okay, if it is two, you might have this one guy Monday who's kind of flipping back and forth. if Monday is kind of the brawn in the situation, because to do the stuff that's going on in this hotel, it's so meticulous, so smart. Like there's got to be a brains along with the brawn. Like maybe the brains can also do a little bit of stuff too, but
not as much damage.
It's so complicated that I don't think he could do it by himself.
Too much energy into the planning. Of everything, because the way the whole
researches
thing is set up,
everybody, he finds out deep dark secrets, things from the past. Like there's a moment where Kate freaks out because she sees a newspaper article about some guy who, like, I think attacked her friend in college, and she's like, how did somebody find this? So it's like there's a lot of meticulous stuff going on for this to work out.
Every situation that could result in someone's death is always carefully designed for that character specifically. There's nothing that is just random. It always plays specifically to the character or to the dynamic between characters. So,
yeah. We've been talking about this for a good while. I'm like, there's so much more I could say, and I'm like, oh my god, do we have time? I know. I feel like I'm gonna remember something and be like, dang it. But yeah, I don't want to. We've already spoiled a lot. Well, if y'all are interested, which I hope you are, because it's so good, and we're hoping that we think there's definitely going to be a sequel to this.
Yeah, it has to be the way it ended.
There hasn't been for the other games. Yeah. Like everybody, when kind of jumping back to Until Dawn, when that came out, people were like, "There's got to be a sequel to this game. Like it's so good," because the way that ended, it also ended like with a cliffhanger where you thought, "Oh, something else is going to happen." Which I'm not going to say because she still has to finish it because we've started playing that. But that didn't happen because Until Dawn is specifically owned by Sony, and Sony, I think, said no. So that's why Dark Pictures exists. But this is a standalone for Dark Pictures, and I'm like, there's too many unanswered questions. Like, we don't figure out enough about Monday. We don't get confirmation whether or not he is Holmes, which we're pretty sure he is. Yeah. Like, depending on the ending that you get, what happens with Mark, what happens with Kate, like, there's so many things that could happen that there's no way that they can't continue it. If they don't, I think people would lose their minds because there's just too many unanswered questions.
What happens to the new group?
Yeah. What happens to the new group? Because they let you know another group gets in. No matter what ending you get, there's more people who are coming to this, who are being brought to this place to endure this stuff.
Oh wow, there's two different groups because there's the group Mark calls. Right. We get the kid. Right. And if everyone lives or escapes, there's the group of college kids.
Which I will briefly say that there is speculation. It's not something specific that we've thought much about, but there's speculation that maybe Charlie has been in on this whole thing.
Yeah, there's a playthrough for that.
Yeah. There's a scene in which you believe Charlie's dead. It's a scene in which is like, okay, there's no way in the world he makes it out of this. Right. And then there's a kill count on the wall, which we believe is the kill count. Yeah. It goes up.
With every person who's supposedly...
With everyone
supposedly dies. Because he
when
didn't
Charlie
die.
was supposedly dead, the number went up. But somehow he made it out alive. Yeah.
So there's a lot in this game to be explored. Just the history of, like, the other people who were here, because you don't get too much about the construction workers, but you do get information about the Dumet guy who brings you there, his family, because his family was there. You don't get much
about some of the other characters.
You don't. Like,
I feel like you learn more about Kate and Mark's dynamic than you learn about anything else. Yeah,
because they seem to have, like, I guess...
some long, deep history.
And I think that's why. Yeah. Everyone else is kind of like an in-the-moment situation.
And our people that we watch didn't really focus on it. But when Erin gets kind of caught in this room for like the second time, she's always getting trapped somewhere. Poor Erin. But there's like a phone with like text messages. Oh yeah. That basically where Jamie's saying that she didn't really mess with Erin like that. Yeah.
She just wasn't her type. Yeah, after they had already established like that they were into each other.
I have not seen this. This is the first time I'm hearing about this.
You didn't see that scene?
No.
It happened when we watched the playthrough when DJ was watching it. I was pulled up that scene.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, I got something to watch
Jamie
today.
was talking to another girl and they were talking crap about Aaron.
She called Aaron like a grown woman child or something like
and
that.
And then you have the option when Aaron and Jamie come together, you have the option to either bring it up or kind of just like.
I think Sean didn't see it and Gab just didn't bring it up because
Gab
she was like
she was like it's too much going on. Nobody got time to be petty.
No, for real. So. That's just a reason for y'all to split up and die.
I mean, they were gonna do that anyway.
Oh my god, yeah. I did not know about that.
We Holy also crap. Do learn that he was like messing with the construction workers. When Jamie and Charlie were stuck together, they had mannequins, and they showed that they kind of had to pull each other to get split in half.
Yeah, or survive. Yeah, it's nuts.
This dude is so much fun.
It's crazy. Like I said, it's basically Saw the video game.
How about that?
It's crazy.
So
moving on.
The next game we're going to be talking about is Poppy Playtime.
I love this game
If you
so
have
much.
not heard of this game at this point, you live under a rock.
Or if you live with them, they force you to watch it.
Yes.
And laugh at your suffering.
Yes. Poppy Playtime.
Dude.
Dude.
Where do you start with Poppy Playtime?
First, you start with episode 1. Episode 1. Huggy freaking Wuggy. Let me stop screaming because my microphone's like, ah! Huggy Wuggy.
Yeah, Huggy Wuggy.
Dude. Okay. Well, first we really gotta rewind. We really gotta rewind. So Poppy Playtime. I'm realizing all of the games that we watched are like historical games. So this takes place, I think it's like the early 50s, 60s. And it's like this toy company, Playtime Toy Co. And like their big toy is Poppy, who is like this doll, and special thing about her is like she smells like poppy flowers, and she talks to you like a real girl. Like basically Megan, the movie Megan, that's what Poppy is. And she is smaller, like a tiny, like a regular like baby doll, if you will, but like she like can talk
American
to you.
Girl doll style.
Yeah, and this toy is being like promoted, and like this company is like selling like these really amazing toys for these kids or whatever. Oh my god, there's so much lore behind it. There's too much, but Poppy is like our main person. We know she's important. Like the game is named after her. We've only interacted with her, not only twice, but like in the first game you interact with her with the first at the very end, and there's very select scenes where you're interacting with her. So the game starts, you see Poppy, and she's like the advertisement for her, and it ends with her going like, "I'm a real girl," like very sinister sounding.
Oh, really bad.
What?
Talk about the first one first.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm kind of, okay. Because I'm like, there's so much to say. Okay, so, yeah.
Because we could talk about the characters as they come along.
Yeah. Introduce Poppy, all that stuff. There's this guy, Elliot Ludwig. He's the founder of the company or whatever. And he's got some shady stuff going on. The game introduces that very early on. It follows all these monster-sized toys, like giant version of their toys,
like way bigger than you even are, because you're playing
a
character.
Living.
I believe who used to work there.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. We were an old worker in the company. We've come back. They haven't said why. Yeah. They explore it a little bit more in the second episode, but we don't know why. But we're back in this company, and we're I don't know. I would say really that's the premise of it thus far, because we're getting episodes of it as installments of the game as they're making it. So we don't have a lot of information. That's why I'm like, I don't know what to say. So yeah, the whole game is you kind of going through the factory, making toys, finding out secrets, figuring out, I guess, the mystery of what happened to Playtime Co. Because as of now, it's shut down.
It's
shut down. So, with that being said, going into episode 1, which, I forget names, but episode 1, you're in there, You're back in the company. You're exploring the old space. And you walk into this main room, I guess, and you see the popular mascot, which I think the way it was like described was that he became like bigger than Poppy. It seems like a lot of the toys ended up becoming bigger than Poppy for some reason. But you're first introduced to Huggy Wuggy, who is
either that or I feel like we don't really get a sense of how like the timeline in which the characters are made, because Poppy could just be a newer character.
What it was
that really blew up.
Because see, I watched theory video because I watched Game Theory, and Matt Pat is great. I'll also link his videos in the description for you to check out. But he talks about like the timeline of these toys, when they came out, and what is going on with that.
Does he find that out through the game, or is that his own like research he did?
Both.
Okay.
Both. He is serious when he does his stuff. He's really good with like the game theories.
The seriousness about it. Like, I can understand because that's what he does.
Yeah. It's like what we're doing.
Sometimes it's a bit much. It'd be a bit too much for me.
But yeah. So this is when we first see Huggy Wuggy, who is probably like this 50-foot tall giant stuffed animal. He's blue, really tall, really lanky arms, legs, and just very fluid. And
despite how tall he is, he can fit into the tiniest of spaces.
Yeah. And move fast as can be.
Yes. So
like he's sprinting after
he is a true monster of a character. We see him, we go and do like a task, and when we come back, dude is gone.
He's gone.
Yay! So
not to mention he's giving you a key at this point.
Yeah, it's wild.
And
so
then you unlock something, and then boom, he's gone.
Yeah,
nowhere to be seen.
So you go through the rest of the game. You're doing your task. You're finding your toys or whatever that you need for the stuff. Making hands, doing all this stuff, and then the chase. You're walking through this hallway. There's this dark corridor, and as you get ready to go through, Huggy emerges, wide, sharp-toothed smile.
Yeah, we have more infamous on that. You walking down a hallway. Yeah. It's this big doorway. You think you're about to go on your way, and a hand comes out because he has to like bend his whole body.
Yeah, like he's so huge.
Grinning at you.
It's
and you
horrifying. It's horrifying. We also watched Sean's playthrough. This is just gonna be me linking every one of Sean's videos because they were amazing, and his reaction is hilarious. It's the first thing that you see in the video.
Do not watch Markiplier play this game.
Mark, we love you.
If you want,
we love you, Mark.
We love Mark. But if you want a good playthrough, at least not your first time watching.
Yeah. Mark takes his time.
Mark play Bendy first either.
Mark takes his time.
Put that right next.
Well, Mark likes to go to danger to see what it looks like.
Oh yeah, he does. We watched him play Sidebar. We watched him play Bendy in the Ink Machine. He's like, I want to see him, and he walked into him and died. I was like, bro.
And gets so scared every time.
I can't. But anyway, coming back, we love Mark. We love Mark.
Subscribe to Mark.
Yes.
So, Huggy comes through the tunnel.
Huggy comes through. We dip. There's like this vent thing, vent system that you go through.
Because this vent is a small little cube, and you're gonna crawl through it because obviously 50 feet doesn't fit into a vent.
Right? Yeah, we don't care if he's stuffed animal. He can't fit through that. He's too tall. But so we're crawling through, and then you see him like through the vents. Dude, it's horrifying. So you're like, oh, I gotta go. So you're like twisted, and the vents twist, turn, they block off. And he's like always there. He's always there. And it's insane. I'll see if I can put a clip in to show you just how he moves through this vent because it is literally the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. But I love it. It's crazy to see how he functions, how he moves. And at the end of that game, you end up like pulling down a crate to like knock him off the path, and he ends up like dying. And you're like, thank God.
He falls too far to not be dead.
He hits his head like 3 times. He's done.
This thing is alive.
And they let you know
limbs, but he is alive.
Yeah, that's the thing with these toys. Like somehow these toys are coming to life for whatever reason. Ludwig, like we said, Ludwig was doing some weird stuff in this toy factory.
This is not Five Nights at Freddy's where these are animatronics.
No.
Because an animatronic would not have been able to shrink into that small of a space.
Nor was
and crawl that and move the way they do.
You could see
blood. Yeah. So like we know like these are organic beings. These are like living things. Mm-hmm. Something's happening. Like they're still toys, but they're toys that are genuinely alive. And then you meet Poppy. And she's like, oh my God, you opened my case. And that's the end of the first episode segment for Poppy Playtime. Chapter 2 comes out. Fly in a web. It's Mommy Longlegs time. And guys, oh my God.
If you thought Huggy Wuggy was scary, you were not prepared.
She's another arachnophobia warning.
Kinda, sort of. Like, she doesn't look like a spider.
Yeah.
She
just
is,
kind of moves around.
If you, oh my God, there was like an old toy that has like this maybe like a Lady Stretch Armstrong with very skinny limbs. There's another toy that's a better version to describe it, but I'll put pictures up of all the characters that we're referencing. But Mommy Longlegs is the big bad of this chapter, and they introduced that very early on. Again, where we get to start out with another ad.
Yeah.
And it's showing Mommy Longlegs and all that stuff, you know. And these are like 90s Saturday morning cartoon style advertisements. We see Mommy Longlegs. Cool. You're thrown in right where you left off in the room where you found Poppy. Then you go through like some new game mechanics, blah, 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 all that stuff. You're with Poppy. She's like, oh, cool, you found me. Like, I've been trying to get out of that case forever, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, you get to this room where there's this pit. And she's like, okay, look, I gotta tell you something. And then this giant...
She tells you there's a train that's supposed to take you out.
Yes.
And she says she's gonna give you the code.
Right.
And as she says that, Mommy
reaches her
hand comes up and grabs Poppy and pulls her down this pit.
So you're like, oh, okay, that just happened. So you got to jump in, and then you're exploring the game area, the game room, I think it's called. And it's basically this space. Oh, and I'll also add, there's something going on with kids and orphan kids specifically. There's an orphanage, and there's like, I think within the factory, like they are, and there's posters all throughout the game where there's like, adopt a kid today, adopt like orphan stuff like that. Okay, so children are involved in some way, and there's like different like notes and messages talking about like, oh, experiment, blah blah blah, child name like linked, and then a toy. So there's possibly a way that these toys, these living toys, are because they're taking these kids and turning them into the toys somehow.
Connection of Freddy Fazbear.
Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. So that's why there's this whole game room area, and that's kind of the driving force of this chapter for Poppy Playtime. So there's musical memory.
Yeah.
Whack-a-Wuggy, and statues. These are the main, not mini games, but like of this chapter. And throughout all of them, Mommy is like referencing, oh, like when the kids were here, they used to do this with the games. And like she specifically says in like Whack-a-Wuggy, which we'll talk about more a little bit later, like, oh, they used to have strings attached to the Wuggies. Yeah. So that they didn't get too close to the children. So, again, shady stuff is going on in this factory. Yeah. So, that's going on. We go through the different games. We meet Bonzo, who's this crazy bunny character. Whack-a-Wuggy, where you gotta like, it's basically whack-a-mole, but mini Huggy-Wuggies. Yeah. And then there's statues. Which is scariest one, honestly, where there's this caterpillar guy who's like constantly chasing you, and like you gotta move when the music and the lights are on, and when they're off you gotta stop. And it's horrifying because it's very tricky, because the way out, they don't make it very obvious. And a lot of people had a hard time with it because they're like, what do I do? How do I leave? So, yeah. We've kind of discussed theories and things that we think are going on here.
The biggest one is, so chapter 3 has not been released, but there has been
a trailer
for it. Not only that, but there's a poster that has a gas mask similar to the ones you might see
from like World War II era.
Yeah, that they might have at like Disney World. Yeah. So our biggest speculation is, okay, they are saying that Poppy's hair smells like poppy flowers. Well, the mask has different colors in it. Yeah. One of the biggest colors is red. Yeah. So there's definitely this speculation going around, including what we're thinking, that this fragrance is some kind of gas that
they're using.
It's some kind of harmful gas for the children.
Yeah. So that they can take them and turn them into these toys. Yeah. And we've developed this from like seeing other theory videos and stuff. Like I said, I'll link them down below. Credit to Matt, Pat, and everyone, because he's definitely helped us out with like what is going on in this world and what is possibly happening. But we fully agree with like, no, that makes sense. Like if the poppy flowers are being used to like knock them out somehow. And the whole point of the gas mask, I think Matt brought up, was like, oh, if the kids see the workers all the time in these, like, brightly, like, they'll be okay. Like, they won't be scared as easily. Which sounds so bad. But, yeah, that's, like, our biggest theory with it. And then kind of, like, who's the next big bad? We keep seeing this.
There are also other colors in the mask. So, another theory for the red, there is this character, Braun, who is
a dinosaur character.
He's a dinosaur character who is shown throughout the second game.
Throughout the second game and in several trailers leading up to it, but he has not been featured yet.
He hasn't been shown other than as a character.
A cardboard cutout, which is scattered throughout all the games, featuring all the characters I think we'll see. And we haven't seen him yet. Like, there's a lot of importance, at least according to the trailers, but we haven't gotten him yet. So we think that Braun might be, which is also coming from Matt Pat's video, he might be the next big bad.
There's also yellow in it, which could be, honestly, a number of characters. There's a bumblebee type cat character. Yeah. What other yellow characters are there?
I think Boogie Bot, and that's it. Oh, no, Bunzo. But we got Bunzo.
And Bunzo, but we kind of got a sense of Bunzo.
So, yeah.
I don't think he'll be in it.
So we're pretty sure that this, I really agree with Matt Pat, though, and I think Braun is going to be the next big bad of the chapter, just because that's the color of, those are the main colors of the mask.
A big thing that has not been mentioned yet. There is a prototype that is mentioned.
Oh my God, the prototype!
The second game. We
didn't even talk about Mommy's death. Oh my God.
I was about to talk about that. So throughout these games, you have to get these VHS tapes, which typically show you how to work this next mini game or basically a little tutorial of how to use a new tool. Yeah. But some of them are like bonus features. So one of them, Jacksepticeye, aka Sean, also was a guest star in it, and he was like a character who was talking about this huge. Wasn't it the caterpillar?
We believe it was PJ Pugapillar.
We believe it was the caterpillar, which you see in the third game. Yeah. So he
was
references
like,
that and says,
"There's nothing with like 1,000 legs in this thing," and he's like, "No, like what is that?"
And then another VHS tape talks about this prototype, which so Huggy dies.
Huggy dies.
There's no afterthought about that. Huggy dies, but there's horrifying chasing scenes. Yeah. More than one with Mommy. Yeah. And when you
the time you end it,
she gets like her leg gets caught into this machine,
like grinder thing,
and you have to basically pull the lever to grind her up into it. And once again, the blood. Yeah. So you know these are real beings. These are not animatronics. These are not just toys. Yeah.
And what's haunting is her last words.
He'll make me part of him.
Yeah, and then
that's like the last thing she's worried about.
What was it? Was it her head?
Her upper body.
Her upper body
and an arm, bro, and an arm.
Yeah.
And this lanky, gigantic claw.
If you've seen the hand from Coraline, I'll put a picture of that. I'll put a picture of the prototype in there. But that's what it looks like. It
crawls underneath this gate and pulls her body.
It pulls her out,
and you see the blood trailing as it's pulling her.
Yeah. So the prototype
is gonna. We don't know.
We think that it might. It's clear that this is gonna be some giant mash of all of these characters who have died.
But they preference Braun too much, so I don't think number 3 is going to be the last one. So I don't believe the prototype will be introduced yet.
No.
We're thinking it might go to about number 5.
Yeah.
About chapter 5. So
I think each character is going to... I don't think it's going to be over to, like, each character has a moment.
Oh my god. Kissy Missy.
Yes.
So Kissy Missy is basically a female version of Huggy Wuggy. You see her in that same section where you see Jacksepticeye's tape, and it starts out with like the same siren sound that you get when you first see Huggy. So you're like, oh my god, it's happening again. Yeah. And she comes in and she's like looking at you, and you're like. And she like
there's a
opens
gate between you. Yeah. So you're like, what the heck? There's
like,
am
I gonna have to leave?
You're like, what
she like puts her arm on the lever, it falls off. She puts it again, opens the lever, looks at you.
The gate slowly rises. So you're like, what do I do?
And then she leaves, and you're like,
that's it.
Oh, so we stand Kissy Missy. We love her. We want to protect her at all costs.
We believe she's gonna die.
We do think she will either sacrifice herself, die at some point, or something's gonna happen where she might get corrupted.
There's a theory where there's a small theory. It's not from like a big game theorist person, but that we'll learn like kind of how the corruption and stuff works. Kind of like if you're familiar with Bendy, how we say like Boris gets snatched up, and he comes back different. It'll be like a moment like that where like that's how they get corrupted and when they kill you. Yeah. So it's still like kind of sacrificial, but it's gonna be a moment where we kind of learn. You know how this whole mess starts.
Yeah. And then the second chapter ends with you eventually, mommy's gone, she's dead, this creature is introduced, and you get the train codes. Now it's time to leave. Poppy is supposed to be meeting up with you. We freed her at this point.
And she's kind of mad. She's kind of mad when we free her. She's like, did you kill her?
It's more so of a thing of like,
emotionalist kind of.
Yeah.
She's numb.
She's numb.
And it's like, there's kind of this question of,
like, well, what was that about?
She's upset she's been trapped for so long, but she does have a connection to these characters. So it's like, ooh, you killed her. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah. And then you're
on the train, you're leaving and Poppy is like talking on like the intercom as you're going. And she basically well, we're gonna keep talking. Our camera footage might got corrupted.
No, it's not gonna keep filming.
Okay, that's fine. We got the audio. Our camera just cut out, so that's the thing that happened. But that's okay. But yeah, she's talking to you on the intercom, and she basically goes, "You're not leaving. We're gonna keep you here with us." And it's like, oh no, like what do we do? So, and that's how the game ends. The game ends. The train derails.
It derails. It falls over. Your vision goes blurry.
Something else had to have taken over the train because the last thing you hear from Poppy is her kind of like being confused and her making a noise, and then she goes quiet, and then the train speeds up way too fast, and then it crashes. Yeah,
and it shows daycare. Yeah, daycare, and that's Poppy Playtime thus far. So we are very excited about that and where that story is heading.
Choo Choo Charles.
Choo Choo Charles. This game is hilarious. So it starts off very wacky. You are some guy in like the Wild West or whatever, and you meet this guy.
You're basically called onto this island basically to get rid of this demon train spider creature.
And this dude is like giving you the like ins and outs of like what's going on in the town, people who need help. Yeah. Because of this train, and there's a bunch of like
decided to stay for some reason.
Yeah.
There's a demon spider train, and just like everyone to keep living here.
And you end up kind of interacting with Choo Choo Charles like very early on. He ends up killing the guy that introduces you to the game and everything. You're like,
this little mini train, which is like your way of travel.
Your way of travel and your way
for
of
some reason they don't have cars, but it's
attacking.
A train and we're traveling on the train. But yeah, he kills the guy.
But yeah, that happens, and you're basically spending the entire game doing like these side quests in addition to whenever Charles comes up, trying to take him down. And it's crazy because the train is literally horrifying to look at. Some of the side quests include like a weird pickle lady. There's this witch lady who has you fighting this weird water creature who we think there's gonna be a sequel to this game, because we don't get a lot about this like weird fish creature, who's like a similar situation to the Choo Choo Charles. But like that happens. There's also this weird group of people who are like in a cult that you have to fight. Yeah. Like the game is crazy, but ultimately the whole goal is to just take down this demon train monster thing. And it's just a wild ride. Like it's really, really fun. And it ends up ending, this is a pretty short game, which is why we're talking about it for really fast. The game ends with you killing Charles, Choo Choo Charles, and very disrespectfully, you like impale him with a spike. Not disrespectfully, he earned that.
I mean, he earned it, but like the death was just disrespectful in itself. Like, a man's got a face full of a spike.
He did. But you kill him, and everyone's like, "Great, cool. The terror is over." Except it's not, because I don't even think it's a post credits. I think it's like
it's during the game.
It's during the game. Yeah, it like fades to black, and it goes like it shows you going like under this mountain into like these caverns, which you explore a little bit like during the game.
Yeah, because it's the temple where like you had to put all the eggs.
It was like they're like eggs that you had to find during the game, and you end up seeing like in these caverns thousands and thousands of glowing eggs everywhere.
Yeah, and you're like you first because it's like it's one egg. Yeah, and you're like, that's fine. It's gonna be another one. He has a sign, and then it just pans out. And there's like different color ones, which I think alludes to there being like different species of whatever Charles originated from. But like it's a whole
basically just implying like there's gonna be a planet of Choo Choo Charles everywhere. So we definitely think that there's gonna be a sequel to this game. But it's very goofy, fun horror to like watch. It's just so ridiculous, and like the characters in it are so
like a scary
zany and weird. Yeah, very much so.
As soon as you meet Pickle Lady, you can't take the game too much seriously.
No, Pickle Lady, she's like, my pickles! Where are my pickles? You're like, dude, lady, what's up with you and pickles?
I'm here to fight a train, a demon spider train, and you're worried about pickles.
But yeah, that's Choo Choo Charles in a nutshell. And I'll throw up more pictures of all these guys. But yeah, I think we covered everything that we wanted to cover.
Yeah, there's not really many theories about that game because
it's so new and it's short.
And it's very unclear whether or not the game is meant to have a sequel to it. So there's not much discussion about it at the moment, but we'll keep you updated.
Well, we'll keep you updated because it's really fun. And who knows, maybe we'll play it at some point. So, as we come to a close here, we have our weekly, not weekly, we do this every time, but our preview for our next episode. And as we mentioned before, it's a Q&A. So, please send us some questions. We're on, again, Instagram, Reddit, Twitter. Send us questions there. We post like the little link thing for you to like send us things. Ask us about school, ask us about career stuff, ask us about gaming things, ask us about stuff.
And we mentioned this in another video when we did the story times. if your question is not chosen, it may not be a question that fits for us personally.
Yes.
Or we may have gotten too many questions. We might not have time to get to it, but we will keep that question in mind for another video in the future.
Yes. But yeah.
Thank you, DJ, for coming on.
Yes. Sharing your input.
And my mutilated voice.
Look, we just got over midterms. It's that time of the year.
We just got back from spring break.
The
weather is
fluctuating.
If you have siblings, you maybe just screamed at your brother for 10 minutes, and now this is the consequence.
The things are happening, guys. If you made it to this point in the video, down below, type game time.
Okay, game time.
Yeah.
Game time.
Put game time in the comments. And again, remember, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Video. We're on TikTok. We're going to be posting more TikToks and more shorts. So look out for those. And yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for being a part of our little community.
Woo! Once again, I'm Nori.
I'm Bree.
And have a good night.